So let's talk, say SARS, okay, say SARS, hopefully it becomes a distant memory in the near future, but who knows. But again, so say the world beats SARS-CoV-2, we beat it back into submission, we have a vaccine. What are the consequences? So let me talk about Ryan White. So Ryan White, who was he? So he was a teenager that was infected with HIV. So what Ryan White was, he was a hemophiliac. So he needed blood transfusions and he was missing factor 8. Remember the clotting cascade? So he was missing factor 8. And what they used to do is take blood from many different donors, isolate the factor 8. But back then, they didn't really know about HIV. So what happened, just like how my best friend's mom was infected with hepatitis C due to a blood transfusion, he had blood transfusion and factor 8 from all these anonymous donors. They didn't know about HIV. He was infected with HIV. Now, that's very tragic, but not only so why is he so important? Well, the thing is that so there was an opposition group raising its needed funds. This is back in 1986. So he tried to attend school, even though we know that people who are infected with HIV, they're not contagious unless you share like bodily blood or if you have sex with them. But again, you can't get infected with HIV just by attending school with someone who's HIV positive. But what happened here? Parents were fighting against his returning to school. The principal says you can't return to school, Ryan. We don't want you infecting other kids, even though the CDC and all the physicians were saying he cannot affect other kids. So they actually raised money to prevent him from attending school. So they were saying, like, yeah, they want to keep the young AIDS victim away from their children. And then look at this. So again, they were testing his right to attend public school. So they were trying to block him from school. And I think this is why we have the anti-vax movement took gained a lot of momentum. So again, what's happening here? They don't give a damn about children, and it's like I want my daughter is never going to school with someone who I know has AIDS. So I get it. I know that again rightfully so, for a lot of parents, our children are our world, right? So, but the thing is, like, I remember talking to an the mom who was anti-vaccination, and she says, "I don't care if 100 kids die. I'm not going to get my kid vaccinated." I'm like, "Whoa, hold back there. Do you realize what you just said? You don't care if other children die?" But the thing is that she really believes that, and it's just like they're willing to throw everyone else under the bus just for their kid. And a lot of parents will die for their children and sacrifice everything. But it's like, wow. It's like, really think about that. Like, you really want other people to die? You don't give a damn about society in general? I mean, it's like, and the thing about this is like, yes, there are rare reactions to vaccination, and they want to prevent that. But it's like saying, okay, maybe because seatbelts actually kill someone in like a million people who get into an accident, I'm not going to wear my seatbelt. So it's like, which is going to kill you more? That 1 in 1 million chance, and I'm making up that statistic, but it's very small, or going through a windshield. So again, it's like I know parents really want to protect their children, and their children are the priority. But this is fear is a powerful motivator. And look at this. Now from 1985, 1986, 1990s, now up to 2020. So this man was evacuated from Wuhan. So what happened here? So actually his friends asked him like, "Hey, you're not still contagious, right? You're not going to infect him." And he survived quarantine, he didn't have symptoms. And then he was interviewed by his local news, and then, yeah, get that clown out of here. So again, he survived the COVID-19, the SARS-CoV-2 infection, and he was like checked out quarantine, but everyone's like, "Hey, are you still infected?" I was like, "You can't return here or get out of here." So again, this is what we're seeing over and over again. Repeating itself. Does any of this sound familiar? Do you see any parallels? Stigmatizing the sick. So again, say we beat SARS-CoV-2. So again, I mean, this is like, even though this is a new virus, this whole thing about discrimination against minorities, discrimination against the sick, I mean, we see it playing out over and over again. So again, so